Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Share this with your friends and let me know where you're watching from. Thanks. Now, let's get into it. It was about 4 in the morning one Saturday, and I was driving to work down the interstate. I was in the middle lane, moving pretty quickly because I was already running a bit late to work that morning. So, when I noticed a car in my left mirror catching me pretty quickly, I was almost alarmed. Had to already be going like 75 to 80, so he had to be going anywhere from 90 to 100. The car quickly caught up to me. It was a gray Honda Accord coupe. I took a look into the car, curious to see who was behind the wheel. Even though it was still dark out, I could see the driver looking back at me as he passed. Then I noticed someone in the back seat too. It was a young woman who appeared to be banging on the back window. Initially, I didn't understand. I assumed it was a girl messing with me or whatever. It's usually not a person's first instinct to assume something sinister is going on. But when I saw the driver apparently push her down under the window and the car swerve at the same time, then I knew something was wrong. That woman was trying to get someone's attention and call for help. I started to speed up a little bit and got behind them so I could keep up. I could see the driver continuously reach into the back of the car with a swinging motion. He looked to be hitting her. I could see her arms flailing in the back of the car. I was in complete shock. I was actually witnessing a kidnapping right in front of me. As I was behind them, matching their speed of about 95 miles per hour, I took out my phone and called 911. As I was on the phone, the car in front of me, brake lights, lit up and he started to slow down to a gradual stop. He definitely noticed that I saw what was going on and thought that I was following him. As much as I wanted to save that woman's life, I didn't know if the driver was armed with a gun or not, so I pulled around him and floored it. I wanted to keep behind them though, so I pulled off the next exit but didn't go entirely up the exit ramp. I waited for the car to pass by down the highway, then I drove over the grass and back onto the highway and began to floor it to catch up to the car, all while still talking to 911. Telling them where we were, what kind of car they were in, and how fast we were going. I was easily going 90 again to catch up to them. As I caught up to the car again, going an insane speed, he noticed me again, even before I got too close. He started to brake in front of me again. I tried to go around him, but he cut me off. I had to stop. He got out from his car and started running towards my car with something in his hand. And in a panic, I threw the car in reverse until he stopped chasing me. Then I put it back in drive before he could get back in his car, and I drove quickly past him. The 911 operator told me there was a state trooper not far ahead from our location and to just keep driving until I passed him. The man in the car behind me continued to follow me, both of us still going at an insane speed of 90 miles per hour plus. I felt the weight of 1,000,000 pounds released off my shoulders when the flashing blue and red lights appeared in my rearview mirror behind the car chasing me. With me in front of him and the cop behind him, he didn't have much maneuverability and he quickly pulled over onto the grass. I pulled over in front of him, but with at least 2 cars worth of space between us, because I still didn't know how this was about to go down. Luckily, the cop with his gun drawn got the guy out of his car with his hands up. By then, I got out and watched the whole thing. He was on the ground in cuffs, now laying on his stomach. Another police car showed up and another cop entered the scene. The woman in the back of the car was let out. She was badly beaten, in tears, and extremely ecstatic to be saved as she kept praising me for saving her life. The driver of the car was her ex-boyfriend, who had come to her house, and when she refused to talk to him, he attacked her, grabbed her and threw her in the back of his car, which had the child locks on. It's scary to think where he might be taking her, or what he was planning to do to her if I or anybody else didn't witness her screaming for help in the back of the car. Coincidence. I was driving from Brooklyn to Vermont to my friend John's cabin to have a weekend of snowboarding. I had two cars at the time of this story, a 2013 BMW 3 Series and a 2006 Ford F-150, which I was driving on this particular night. I had my snowboarding gear in the bed of the truck. I was about 45 minutes from my buddy's cabin at this point. It was late, like 1 a.m. It was pitch black on these roads and it was snowing. There were like no other cars on the road up there besides me at that hour. I had just gotten my truck back from the mechanic a few weeks ago. I frequently had problems with that truck, and that night was no exception. At perhaps the worst possible time on the quietest, darkest road, suddenly my engine starts to completely overheat into the red zone. I slow down and pull onto the side, and I wait for it to cool down again. Then I slowly got back on the road, but even at a slow speed, the needle went back up to the red and the engine was overheating again. I had to pull over and turn off the truck. I went under the hood to try and diagnose the problem, but I couldn't in the dark in the snow. I had to call John. On this road, the reception for T-Mobile was non-existent. I couldn't even call for help in the moment. I felt screwed. I went into the truck to turn it on again and at least wait in the heat of the truck as it idled. It didn't seem to overheat while idling. I tried one more time to drive, but the same thing happened again. So I had to wait like 10 minutes before I saw a car passing. I had my hazards on and I opened the door and waved my arms. The passing car stopped. It was some little Toyota. The guy rolled his window down and I thanked him for stopping and asked if I could use his phone. He asked what happened. I told him my truck was overheating and was undrivable. He then asked me if I'm all alone. I paused for a second and said, yeah. He reached for his cell phone and handed it to me. He must have been a local because he had bars. I called my friend John. He picked up and I asked him what I should do. He told me to call this specific towing company nearby and that he'd come and pick me up. I gave him my exact location and he said he was going to head over. After that, I called the towing company he gave me and requested assistance. During both phone calls, the guy in his car watched me the whole time. I tried not to look back though. After my phone calls, I handed the man back his phone and thanked him. He said, "You're welcome," and without saying anything else, he rolled up his window and drove down the snowy road into the darkness ahead. I watched as his taillights disappeared completely as he descended below the top of the hilly road above. I was once again alone. I got back into my idling truck to be in the warmth. I flicked the headlights off for a second just to get an idea of how dark it was out. And when I say I couldn't see an inch outside the windows, I'm not exaggerating. It was pure blackness. I sat in the truck waiting and waiting. I couldn't even do anything that needed an internet connection. Scary things can happen on the road at night. Nighttime is when the creeps and weirdos come out, so you have to be extra careful. This was in 2020, right around when COVID started. I would often work overnight shifts at a hospital. My hours would be all over the place. I would always take the same route home, a parkway that I'd take 10 miles north to my town. It's never a busy parkway, even during the daytime, so at night I'm almost always completely alone on the road. And COVID just made it even more of a ghost town. I never even see any state police at night either. Usually this is convenient for me, as I get home quicker without any slow drivers around me. It was one night I was driving home in the middle of the night, or rather, early hours of the morning. I see a red flashing SOS light stand perched up on the side of the road. As it shone, you could light up the taillights of the car parked on the side of the road. Clearly someone was in need of assistance, and I was, I guess, in a good mood that night, so I pulled over in front of the car. As I passed the car, I saw a man waving his arms in the air. I put my hazards on and stepped out of my car to approach the man. Based on his skin tone and slight accent, he was a Hispanic man. Due to the COVID mask he was wearing, though, I couldn't gauge how old he was, but if I had to guess, I'd say late 20s, early 30s. I asked him what the problem was. He said his battery died after he stayed pulled over for too long. I asked him if he had jumper cables because I did not. He said no. I didn't really know how else I could be of assistance other than offering him a ride, but then he asked if he could borrow my cell phone. He said his phone died too. I wasn't eager to hand this stranger on the side of the road my phone, but I did. I unlocked it for him and opened the phone app. He proceeded to call someone, then slowly walked away as he started to talk into the phone. His car door was open though, so I kind of decided to just take it upon myself to sit in the front seat and try turning the car on myself. And sure enough, the keys were in the ignition still. I turned the key one click to the right, and to my surprise, the battery turned on. I tried turning the hazards on. They worked. I turned the radio on, and it worked. So I then turned the key once more to the right to start the car now, and it started on the first try. I didn't have enough time to think about how I might have just walked into a trap, because as soon as the car turned on, I felt two arms wrap around my throat trying to choke me. I heard a voice yelling from outside, "Hey, hey," over and over. It was the guy with my phone. I broke out of the person in the back seat's grip pretty easily. I looked at him, and it was a young teenage kid in the back seat. The man with my phone was running back toward his car, screaming at me. I picked flight over fight and ran back to my car and got out of there as soon as the car was on. And I swear to God, I heard a loud pop from outside that I found out moments later was a gunshot. My rear windshield had a hole in it, along with multiple cracks surrounding the hole. I couldn't call police until I got home, since that guy still had my phone. I got home and told my parents, then went ahead and called 911 using the house phone. I explained to the police that I was led into a trap, that someone was hiding in the back seat, and that the man who shot at my car still had my phone, which was still unlocked with all my personal information on it. The police recommended I call AT&T immediately and asked them to track the last call that was made within the hour, but AT&T customer service didn't open until 7 a.m., so I had to wait with the cops still there. I used Find My iPhone on my dad's phone to lock my phone, which I hoped was before they could have found our home address on there. Come 7 a.m., I called AT&T to ask if they could track the last call that was made, but there were no calls logged since my phone call with my mom earlier the previous day at work. That meant the man never actually made a phone call to anyone. And I found out some more horrible news. All the Bitcoin I was holding in my Coinbase account was gone. Many thousands of dollars worth of it sent to some random Bitcoin wallet address, completely untrackable. The phone's location stopped updating once the thief either disposed of or turned off the phone. I never got it back. A week after this incident, I woke up to my mom's concerned voice. My dad knocked on my door and told me to come downstairs and outside. I was scared, but I followed him. He said he and my mom heard someone in our backyard, but when we checked, we didn't see anyone there. My mom wanted to call the cops, but my dad said we'd hold off until we heard another noise, which we never did. I don't know if what they heard was a person, but if it was, I really hope it wasn't that man who had my phone. My address was saved everywhere on that phone. Regardless, it's been 2 years now, so it's obviously over. Still, I will never stop to help somebody on a highway at night ever again.